Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us for another live stream episode of Dogman Encounters Radio. We appreciate your time. For today's special show, we're going to invite a very well followed, respected guest from the past back onto the show to update us on what's been going on around her rural Montana property. Of course, we're talking about Robin, and we can't thank her enough for coming back on. Robin, thanks so much for coming back.
Hi, Vic. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be invited back.
Well, as you know, it's great having you. We really appreciate you doing this. Robin, you came on episode 139, 280, 281, 398, and 399 to tell us about all these experiences that you and your daughter have had on your property. What's been going on since you came on last?
Well, since I've been on, I can't remember if my parents had moved. I have a guest house on my property, and my parents had moved in to my guest house. And I'm not sure if that had already happened the last time I was on, but they're living here too, and they are having experiences as well. We still are having daily experiences and activity um, at our house, but it seems to be more centered around my mom and dad, um, more so than my daughter now. My daughter hasn't really seen any dogmen or any of the, we call them the friends, any of the Sasquatch friends lately. Um, and I actually think that that's kind of a blessing because she's a teenager now. And I think that it's hard to integrate having all this going on and having this constant activity with being in school and having a having to assimilate into a more air quote kind of reality of um of high school. But my mom and dad certainly are having a lot of experiences. My mom sees them quite often, and my dad had a very, I told you before when we were on in the backstage that my dad had this experience, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to share it because some of this is so strange that you feel like you are insane. And so my dad, every night, when before they my dad goes to bed, he goes outside and he talks to the Sasquatch. And this one night he came flying back into the main house where I live and said, "You're not going to believe what I just saw." Only insert a couple of key swear words. And I thought, "Oh my god," cuz my dad is pretty unflappable. And I said, "Well, what did you see?" And he said, "I don't even know if I believe it." And I said, "Well, what happened?" We have an embankment that goes down to a creek. And he said he was talking to them and he saw this huge Sasquatch going down this embankment, only, and he knew it was them, only it looked like an x-ray. So it looked like he could see a femur and a pelvis and a lower leg, and then it just vanished. So we've had, I'd say, more unusual activity going on. We've seen a lot of orbs near the creek, near the creek, in our forest, in our field. My mom, when she was here, saw a huge, like, a very, very bright light in our field. And she didn't open she didn't open the blind. She was here by herself and she wouldn't open the blinds, but there's nothing around her that would emanate that kind of light that would penetrate through our blinds. So we just have had very unusual experiences. We're still experiencing both Dogman and Sasquatch, in addition to seeing these orbs and having this other phenomena that's going on.
Almost from the beginning, your mom knew about the strange things going on there around your property, but what kind
Yeah,
of
yes, she
outlook is
did.
your she did too. What about your dad, though? Did he poo-poo you when you tried to warn him? Okay, we've got things around this property that I just don't know. How did he respond?
Well, they both were kind of jerks. My mom had seen them and then didn't tell me. So when I told her that I was seeing things, she kind of made fun of me, knowing that they were here. And um, my dad, when all this started, and I was absolutely terrified. We had woods. So our property is it's on Crowland, old Crowland. So and we had built this a new house on this land, and the forest butted right up against the house, and there was a field, and the field wasn't cut down, so it was tall grass in the field, and then this forest butting up against the windows. So there was a lot of cover for them so that they could get close to the house. And I was terrified. I called my dad one day, and my aunt would come stay with me. My aunt saw them too. And my aunt is a little Southern woman, and you just don't mess with her. And she called my parents, and she told my dad that he better get out here and help me and get this and help me get things clear cut so that I have some breathing room um, from what's going on. So my dad came out. I had also didn't know who I should contact about this, because I couldn't call our local law enforcement. They'd think I'm crazy. And it's such a small town that I didn't want anyone knowing anything that's going on here, because I didn't want people coming onto my property, and I also just didn't want people to think that I was crazy. So I called an organization that was of no help at all. They wanted to come out and investigate my property, and I wouldn't let them. Um, but the one bit of good advice that they did give me was to really cut a large swath of forest back so that they didn't have any way to get close to my house without me seeing it. So my dad did come out, and he believed me, because he knows that I'm not the type of person that I don't make things up. I don't get scared easily. Um, I know my way around guns. I can protect myself, and I'm very independent. And he knew when my aunt called and said that I was staying at her house that there was something very, very wrong, and that he needed to come out. So he came out, and we were talking about well, I mean, it was the BFRO that I called, and we were talking about the things that they recommended, and um they did really a lot more to scare us than to give us practical advice. Um, so we wrote down everything that they recommended that we thought made sense, and started to do what they told us to do, like cut the field down. We rented a hay maker thing, and just cut this field down so that they didn't have any way to sneak in and get close to the house. We cut back all of the forest so that we've got like at least 100 feet between the windows and the forest, and that helped. And then just having my dad here as a man kept them at bay for a little while. Um, it's strange, but when they want your attention, they find ways to get it. And for whatever reason, they really wanted my family to know that they're here, and to kind of start a relationship with them, I guess.
Well, if anyone can read people, they're going to know right off the bat that you're definitely no shrinking violet. I mean, you're a strong character, and if anyone can handle such a, I guess, quote unquote, interesting sometimes difficult situation, you deserve a lot of credit for keeping everything together, having to deal with all the things you've been made to bear over the years. I'm awfully impressed. I
Thank you,
really
Vic.
am.
I one thing that I do really recommend if anyone has habituation going on is to contact you, because you do know, you're very well dialed in with other people that have this situation going on, and to just contact you so that you don't feel alone, because you're not alone. It feels very isolating. And even just in kind of like in our pre-interview today, I said, we have such strange stuff going on. Have you heard that other people have this going on? And you said yes, and it makes me feel less crazy, because sometimes you just do, even knowing all this is going on and knowing that my parents are here and that it's not crazy, you feel crazy. The other thing that happens, and I know that this has happened to, I have a couple of other friends that have habituation going on, and things, I don't know how they get in houses. I have no idea how this happens, but we will have things that we like go missing, and they'll be missing for months. And then all of a sudden, you will find a whole bunch of whatever went missing. Like lately, it's been phone chargers. We'll find a whole bunch of phone chargers shoved away in a drawer where we would never keep them, but they're not ours. They're, who knows where they're from, but they're not ours. And it's things like this that go on that make me feel half crazy, but at the same time, it I know that I'm a logical person. I know this is happening, and it makes me realize how wonderful and amazing the world is. That even though sometimes I know that people have bad encounters and very scary, horrific experiences, but it for us, it's different. We've never been hurt. We've never had our animals hurt. Um, and for us, it's haven't now that we're used to it, it's something that I really enjoy, and it makes me feel like the world's a little more magical and mysterious.
And then some.
And then some.
That's right. I don't know, Robin. I mean, life can be more than challenging enough when you don't have to deal with Sasquatch sneaking into your home and doing things like that, and dogmen outside frightening the dickens out of you. But
Mhm.
you deal with all those things on top of what normal life throws your way. How do you handle it? How do you do it? Huh.
For me now, it's normal. I'm used to it, and I even before I came on, Vic, I was a little nervous because I thought nothing's really to me, nothing really spectacular has been going on, but I forget that having footprints in your yard, and having, branches that are bent back and woven against each other when they're 12 feet in the air, like, all these things are things that researchers and other people look for and try to find, and it's just our normal. It's so normal for me, but it wasn't like this. I mean, for years I was um mentally, I was not okay. It causes a break in reality, especially, even if you're someone that seeks this out and that researches this actively, to think about it and to research it is one thing, but I think to experience it and to know and to have it in your face all the time, it's different. And for me, I watched In Search of, and I watched all the good 80s programs, but I believed, but I didn't. And so to have all this happen was, it almost causes you to have a break, and if I didn't have my aunt here, I think it might have gone a little bit different, because I was on the verge of having a mental break.
Well, that would cause almost anyone to have a mental breakdown. The fact that you
Yeah.
stayed there, that says a lot about your strength. Like I said before, I just don't know how you do it, but you have been, and that's awfully impressive. Thinking about the last
Well,
episode you came on. Oh, I'm sorry, please continue.
oh, I was gonna say that, it sounds um kind of Pollyanna-ish, but I decided that if they really wanted to hurt me, they could. Um, that they're doing this for some kind of a reason. And I went I was really scared, but I went to every corner of my property by myself, and I just prayed. And I also said, if you're not good, you need to leave. And I would just talk to them, and I would just say, I don't know what you want from me. I don't know. I don't understand. And please help me to understand. Um and this sounds so nuts, but I had this wave of, we call it love zaps. It was like the most fulfilling love that just comes in you, and it's more than, like, parents love children. I love my daughter. It was more than that. It was almost too much to handle, and I knew that everything was going to be okay, that there is some purpose with all this, and that it that no matter what happened, no matter what I felt, that it would be okay.
Well, that's great. It's all too easy to think that, okay, if you have Sasquatch and Dogman hang around your property and on your property, that it's all going to be negative. But as you've covered in the past episodes, there have been quite a few positive things to come along with all this. So that's good.
Yeah, and talking with you really helped me to understand that with the dogmen, that if they wanted to hurt us, they would. Sasquatch, they're even though they're not, I mean, it's not like looking at this. I don't mean for this to sound derogatory, but it's not like if you're looking at a friend, like a human friend, or if you're looking at a horse or an animal that you can relate to and get a good feeling from. It's intimidating as hell. It is really scary. They're huge, and they have this energy that makes you know that you are in the presence of something that is far more knowledgeable than you, and just has more depth than we as humans have. It's an it's an awesome feeling. It is just a very, it's just a humbling feeling. But with the dog men, it's scary. It's like a visceral reaction, because they look like something that's going to eat you. Their energy is so much different than the Sasquatch. It is scary. It's like a paralyzing fear. And it just, at first, I don't know what was going on at first with them, but it almost felt like it was sucking your soul. Like, it felt very dark and bleak, but that feeling lifted, and now they're around, and I still get, it when they're around, their presence causes like a generalized anxiety. I feel anxious, um, and I don't feel like I can relax. But I think it's more of a, I don't know, like a it's like it sounds crazy, but like their vibration is very, very different. And but I don't think that they would ever hurt us, and I don't think that they haven't hurt our animals, they haven't hurt our cats or anything. Um, but it's very different.
Well, as you know, they've had plenty of opportunities to harm you, and to harm your animals. I think the biggest reason why they haven't harmed you or your animals, of course, is not just the fact that they don't want to, but you're obviously very level headed and you don't do anything extreme that would encourage them to cause any problems. So you can
No.
basically thank yourself for not having any trouble out there.
Well, thank you, Vic. I appreciate that. Yeah, I have always had the attitude that this isn't my property, it's borrowed land, and that they were here first. They're older than us. I think their species is older than us. And I think they certainly, I believe that they have beyond human intelligence and abilities, and I have respect. I revere them.
Well, it's good you understand all those things. Yeah, for people who think they know quite a bit about these guys, even they don't give them enough credit in a lot of cases. They have so many abilities that would make it so easy for them to dispatch us and really be a problem for us. It's not convenient to have them around in a lot of instances, but I mean, it's not like they're being the type of problem they could be if they wanted to be. They could really cause some problems for us if they wanted to. So the fact that they don't in most cases means that, in my opinion, they deserve a lot of credit for that. Thank goodness that they don't. But
Yeah.
speaking of, oh, I'm sorry, please continue.
Oh no, I was just going to say in the beginning they did cause a lot of damage to my property, but I all I had to say was that's not like I went outside and yelled and said that's not okay, and used a few choice words, and how am I going to explain this to my insurance adjuster, and then it stopped. So I haven't had house damage in a long time, but they can do a lot of damage to your house and to your vehicles.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I never will forget the pictures you gave me of, I guess, all the damage that either the dogmen or more than likely the Sasquatch did to your roof. They did a number on it.
Oh yeah, it's a steel roof. It's steel, and they crumpled it. It looks like aluminum foil, and I still don't have it. I still don't have it fixed. I haven't been able to come to terms with telling my insurance agent that there's this damage, because I there's no way to explain it.
Yeah, that would be a hard one to explain. Well, even if you were masterful at explaining it, of course they're not going to buy it, so why bother? I don't blame you.
No. Oh yeah, there's nothing that can crush steel and pop steel bolts off of roofs. So I thought it's just not even worth it.
Oh, it's not worth bothering. Before
Yeah.
I start asking questions from the listeners in the live chat, I've got one more question for you. When you came on
Hmm.
episode 398 or 399, that was a two-parter there. You told us about that one dogman that started coming around that was by far and away the most frightening dogman that you'd ever seen on your property. Have you had any more experiences with that guy?
I have not. I haven't seen that one, but there's a definite feeling that I get energetically when it's around. I know when it's around. I can feel it. And I don't know if it picks up that it well, I'm pretty sure that it picks up that my fear that I had seeing it. So I haven't physically seen it, but I can definitely feel it when it's around. So it's still here. I just haven't seen it.
So it is still around. You told me not too long ago that you think that that dog man and all the others actually serve a beneficial purpose around your property. What is it? What do you think they do?
I do. I so in the evolution of all this and all the strangeness that's going on here, um my daughter and one of her friends were out in our woods, and they came flying in. This was a couple years ago. They came flying in the house crying and scared because they saw something that was really tall and like skinny and looked like oh, kind of spider like, but it and I said, "Well, are you?" Because this one my daughter's friend knows about the friends and the dog men. She's had been her friend since they were in kindergarten. So she knew about what we had going on here. And they said, no, it's something different. It's like really skinny and really scary. And I think that I think that the Dogman and that the Sasquatch definitely serve a purpose. I think that there are things out there that are more scary and more frightening than them. And I think that they keep other things that I haven't seen, that I'm not aware of, but maybe that my daughter has picked up on, and her friend, that they keep those things at bay.
Well, you just might be right about that. That's been alleged before, and yeah, there might be some truth to that. It's hard to say. I've got the first question ready for you, and that question is from Joshua Longy. And Joshua wants to know if you have any pics or any videos of anything that's been going on around your property.
I have pictures, I have some videos. I don't share them with anyone because I I don't have to prove anything to anybody. And I I stopped. I was when all this started, I wanted to get trail cams and set trail cams up and everything. And it was my I come hell or high water, I was going to prove that this is going on, and that this activity is happening, and that there's Sasquatch and Dogman on my property. I was going to prove it. And don't I've stopped taking pictures of footprints. I've stopped taking pictures of like tree breaks and things like that, because it's just it number one, it happens so often here, and I feel like it's invasive to them at this point, because it's been going on for over 10 years. So we just don't really take pictures anymore. When my brother comes, he'll take pictures, but it's more because he doesn't live here, so it still is cool for him. But for us, it's so every day. And at this point, I feel like it's like taking pictures of your neighbor's yard. I feel like it's kind of invasive for me to do at this point. So I don't, but I do have videos, and I do have a lot of photographic evidence that I have.
It does seem like they see that as being an invasion of their privacy, so it probably is a good thing that you don't worry about taking photos or videos. But even if you had the best picture, the best video, you know how it is in the cryptid
Oh
community
yeah.
anymore.
Yep.
It's just like spinning your wheels. I mean, you can have the best evidence and people are just going to shoot it down and poo poo it. So, what's the point?
Yeah, I don't really think there is a point. And when all this started, I was talking with a good friend. I'm friends with a man named Keith Bearden, and he's well known in the Bigfoot community. And he and I were talking, and I this morning, and I said, I haven't been in any kind of Facebook or online Bigfoot or any kind of cryptid groups in so long, because you get sick of it. And then the other thing too is that there's a privacy issue. Um, when I was in these groups, I did have problems with people that figured out where I lived and were trying to access my property, and that's nothing that I want to be a part of.
Yeah, I don't blame you at all. It really is a shame you
Yeah.
have to worry about things, but to highlight what you just mentioned about someone finding out where you lived and everything, I guess it was maybe 2.5, 3 months ago. I speak with so many people, content creators and other people in this community. It's so hard to keep it straight who you spoke with about this or about that. But I
Yeah.
guess it was about 2.5, maybe kind of going on 3 months ago, I guess, where I spoke with a content creator who's got his own show. And he told me how maybe a week or so before a conversation, the doorbell rang. There was a knock at the door. He went to the door and answered it. And there's this guy standing right there in his front step and told him, I know who you are. I'm a werewolf and I'm going to kill you.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody listening to his show found out where he lived and showed up at his front
Mhm.
door and had the nerve to say that. But Yeah, there's some crazy people out there. I don't blame you for not wanting people to know where you live.
Yep.
Yeah, not good at all. Well, I've got
No,
another question for you, Robin, from Darren. Darren wants to know if your property is on ley lines.
I really don't know what those are.
Well,
So
ley
I'm not
lines,
sure.
oh, that's okay. No harm, no foul there. Ley lines go across the earth in lateral patterns. They're horizontal on the globe, basically, and you'll find a lot of interesting paranormal phenomena on these ley lines. So,
Oh,
what Darren's wondering is if you're not on the ley line, then are you close to one by chance? Because if you are, then I mean that might fit because, like I said, a lot of strange things do tend to happen on them or very close to them.
I'm not sure about that one, but I'd say an educated guess would probably be yes. Since we've got so much strange stuff going on. I do have Native American healers come to my land to do ceremony. And I have had psychics come to my land, and all have said that there are portals here. So I'm not sure if that might help answer his question, but they said that this is a high, um, the area where we live is native land, and they said that it's high activity and that there are portals.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised with all the strange things you've had going on around that property and continue to experience. That sure would explain a lot. So it does make you
Yeah, it
wonder.
would.
It
Mm-hmm.
would. The next question is from Michael Oakes, and Mike wants to know he's actually got a two-part question. Part one is when your dad saw the one with the femur and pelvis viewable, is it possible that Sasquatch and Dogman could be affected by CWD, like deer? I'm not sure what he means by, oh, chronic wasting disease,
Chronic
like
wasting
deer.
disease. I don't know. I think it was more of, I think that they're interdimensional beings myself. And when he told me that, I immediately thought that it was probably morphing in and out of dimensions, because I've had experiences where I have felt breathing on my hair and on the top of my head, and my hair's moved, and I turn and I've seen an elbow. I saw an elbow, and I saw like reddish hair of a Sasquatch, and it brushed my face and then it was gone. So I think it was more of an interdimensional thing going on, rather than I'm not sure if they have chronic wasting disease, but I don't think that that was what it was.
Either a portal was involved or maybe them cloaking if they have that ability. It's really hard to say, but it's definitely above and beyond what you would expect from just a normal animal.
Yeah. Yeah,
It
and
really is.
we have seen them cloak. It looks like, if you've seen the movie Predator, that pixelation, that's what it looks like. You can see like pixelation, and you can, if you know what to look for, you can see it. Um but they do cloak. We've seen that.
I really don't know how you could ever get used to having them around, number one, but when you start seeing them cloak like that on top of everything, wow, that's hard to wrap your mind around. It really is.
It
But
all I can say, Vic, is the only thing what keeps us sane here is that I have my parents moving here. They moved living here. They moved here for a reason, because I was losing my mind. I was having a hard time psychologically, um being here, and they're very logical, rational people. So having them experience it too, we all keep each other sane. I I don't think that I would be okay if they weren't here, because there's so much weird going on.
I can understand why you would say that. And yeah, thank goodness they are staying there with you. That's got to help
Yeah.
tremendously. It really is.
Mhm. Yeah.
I've got another question for you from Stephen Weishaupt. And Stephen's question is, how much activity are you dealing with? Which is hard to quantify, but that's his question.
Well, it's daily. There's stuff going on every single day. Um, on like air quote quieter days, it's just house bangs, loud house slaps. Every night, there's house slaps and roof slaps, and then I'll get like really hard tapping. The Sasquatch slap the house and will hit the roof. Every night we get that. And then they'll bang. And that goes on pretty much all day. Like my mom will hear them bang and she'll go outside and talk to them. Like that's kind of how they get us to go outside during the day to talk to them, is by banging. So we'll go outside and just talk to them. And then at night, I just think of it as like when you tuck somebody in, when you have children and you tuck them in and you just let them know that it's okay, tucking them in. That's how I look at the bangs and the taps that we get from the Dogman at night. I have windows all around my bedroom and I'll have taps on on each window at night. And I know that it's them because the Sasquatch, if they tapped, it would be more of a thud. But this is like if you have a really big nail, because they've got such big claws and it's just tapping on these windows at night. So we have that going on nightly, every night without fail. That happens. We see footprints. I've seen them in the trees. And we have a puppy now, and our puppy will, I'm very, very careful with her, but every now and then she'll get out. And one time she got out and it's snowy right now, and I was out looking for her and her tracks just completely disappeared. They're just gone. And I thought, oh, expletive. Where is she? And so I just said, look, if you have her, please bring her back because I love her, and just bring my damn dog back. And sure enough, here she comes from some other place where there was no tracks. Like her tracks ended in this field and there's nothing. And all of a sudden here she comes up from the wood, from the tree line, where she shouldn't have been. So there's just so much stuff going on. We always have stuff missing. If we if we're not out talking to them, especially my daughter and I, they will take something that we like and it'll just go missing. And then we'll go outside and talk to them. They do stuff all the time, and weird they do weird things they like to they're kind of playful in that they just like to like take things that you like, and then you'll go in your car or whatever and there'll be all these other things that are similar, like sunglasses. They took my mom's sunglasses, and all of a sudden I went into my truck and there were like 3 pairs of sunglasses sitting on the driver's seat. They weren't mine, they weren't my mom's. We don't know who the hell had those sunglasses. I don't know. But we just kind of donated them to Goodwill when we went to the nearest town, because I thought, I don't want anybody to think that we stole if they were someone's sunglasses. It's just weird stuff like that that happens quite often around here. And we'll have like little gifts left on our doorstep or on the back porch, and um just weird tree weavings and branch breaks and things like that happen quite frequently. um we've never had anything scary happen. I've never heard them, um like how you have some people that hear them howling or making noise. We never hear stuff like that. We'll hear what sounds like distant whisper in a foreign language. It sounds like Russian to me, or like another language. My aunt said it sounded like Cherokee to her, but we'll hear whisper talking, things like that in the woods, but we don't have anything scary happen.
Thank goodness you don't. But I've got to
Yeah.
tell you, that banging on the walls, the tapping on the windows, that would have to go. That's not good. That wouldn't fly. I think I'd be out on that back deck and have a little talk with them. Not that it would do any good, but yeah, that would not fly. Well, the next question, Robin, is from Darren. And Darren wants to know, are you able to communicate with these guys?
Yes. Um, they are telepathic. And one of the ways that I got over my fear was I asked them to help me to understand. I said, I don't understand and I don't want to be afraid, but I don't think that you're here to hurt me. And it was like every, uh, it was just so weird. Well, for one thing, I had this feeling and this thought come in my head, but it wasn't like words like how I'm speaking to you. It was like if someone were to put an entire book in your head and you just read it all at once and you understood it. That's what it's like when they are communicating with you. You get all this knowledge really fast in your head, like getting downloaded with books or with all these files that you just automatically understand and know. Um, that's what happens to me quite frequently. One of the first things that they did was that they told me that that I feel this way around them because I thought this was such BS when I would not believe me if I heard me before all this happened. But they told me that vibrationally that I'm not, that's what's scaring me, is that they have a different like frequency that they are on, and that because I'm not at their level of vibrational frequency, again, I would think I was full of crap. That that's what makes you feel so scared around them, and that I have to learn how to be a different way, that I have to be a different way in order to vibrate at their level so that I can hear them better and communicate with them better and be around them and not be afraid and learn. And so it's been a process, but yeah, they have telepathy. I don't know if all of them do because I've heard some accounts of things that are down south and it doesn't sound like it's the same species. I don't really understand the differences, but at least here, both Sasquatch and Dogman are telepathic, and I get messages from both of them frequently.
Well, it goes without saying they wouldn't share all the things with you that they do if they didn't see something in you. And with your great character, it's no wonder they do, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You are welcome. Just telling you like it is. The next question is from Stephen Weishaupt, and his question is, do the Sasquatch and Dogmen interact with each other?
I haven't seen them together physically, but when they tap at night, it's pretty much at the same time. Like I'll hear the house getting slapped and then I'll hear the tapping along the windows. I'm not sure relationship wise how that works. I haven't, like I said, I've physically seen them separately, and I've seen, like, there's a Sasquatch family here. I've seen them together. I've seen multiple dogmen together, but I haven't seen Sasquatch and Dogmen holding hands in kumbaya. Um, but I'm sure they must have some kind of amicable relationship because they're both here and they interact with us like at the same time or within minutes of each other. So they must have some type of amicable relationship to be here together.
Not just an amicable relationship, but they also seem to get along as well. How about that?
Yeah, that's what that's what I would that's my guess, Vic, because I mean, just knowing how the Sasquatch are, it's like having naughty boys. If you're a teacher, it's like having naughty boys in school. Like they just do silly, weird stuff all the time. It's like having a weird kid in class. That's what they're like. They do weird stuff and they do funny stuff. Like they try to play tricks on you, and they're very playful with us. And the dogmen aren't really so playful. I'm sure that maybe in their own way they are, but to me they don't seem very playful. So to have those two big personality differences and different ways of being together, they have to get along. There has to be something there where it's mutually beneficial, or I can't imagine.
Well, in most cases, it seems like the two don't get along, but there are cases like yours where evidently they do for whatever reason. Of course, we can't think for them, so we're never going to know why. But yeah, in your
Right.
situation and Robin Haynes McCrae's situation, others as well, they do seem to get along, or at least tolerate
Mm-hmm.
each other. So
Yeah.
that's that. The next question is from Michael Oakes, and Mike wants to know, do you think dogmen could be Nephilim?
I don't really know enough about that to even make an educated guess. So I don't know.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, I mean, it would take a lot more information than any of us have to make a firm conclusion on that, or an informed one, I should say. The next question would be from Asterix Drink, and their question is, do you still do that tobacco offering every 3 months still?
No, I kind of stopped doing that because I just got lazy. I haven't done that in a while. I probably should. Maybe that's why they're banging on the house and tapping so much. But I haven't, and I probably should. When this all started, and I think the last time that I was on, we my daughter and I would go outside all the time and leave them gifts and do offerings and decorate the forest for them and do all kinds of things. And life just got so busy, and I've been negligent in my friend Sasquatch friendship duties.
Well, you do have a life to live also, so
Yeah.
I mean, they can't fault you for that. Yeah, it's hard enough to get everything done as it is without having to cater to them, so they can't fault you for that. Or they might fault you, but I mean, there's only so much you can do. So,
As
no
long as
big
they don't
deal there.
blame me.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
The next one is from Nathan Cannon. And Nathan's question is, do you live near the Crow Reservation?
No, I don't. If he's talking about Hardin, Montana, near that reservation, no, I don't.
All right. The next question is from Stephanie H. And Stephanie wants to know, do you see them every day?
I don't see them every day, but I feel them every day, and they definitely bang on the house and tap every day. Um, I'd say I probably see them like at least twice a week. I'll see them physically. My daughter doesn't see them at all anymore, which I think is a good thing for her so that she can still be integrated at school. My mom sees them quite frequently, and my dad sees them quite a bit.
Yeah, it probably is a good thing that your daughter doesn't see them anymore. At the age that she's at, she has enough going on, not to mention, all the other things that around the house and everything that she has to deal with. So, like I said, that's
Right.
probably a very good thing. The
I
next
think it is.
question, oh, definitely. The
Yeah.
next question's from Lori D. And Lori wants to know, Robin, have you ever asked them what they call themselves? Probably not. Dogman.
I have.
Well,
I have asked them. I asked them what to call them, and the Sasquatch definitely have names. They have names that they've given us, and that's what we call them. We call them by their names. And the dogmen they don't call themselves dogmen. Species wise, as far as like we're human, they're what are you? They haven't told me that, but they tell me their names. Like my name's Robin. They have individual names, and that's what we call them, by their individual names.
Wow, I can only imagine what it must be like to be so familiar with these guys that you're on a first name basis.
It's
Um,
like I said, Vic, I don't have very many friends that I share this with.
I understand. I don't
Because
blame
we
you. It's a shame it's got to be that way, but I do
Yeah,
understand. I
yeah.
really do. The next question is from, well, I guess it's more of a comment in reference to basically a statement that Joshua Longy made earlier about you being able to take photos and videos of them being able to prove something as far as their existence, which it wouldn't. But this comment is, man, you could help so many people that go into the outdoors that just think it's crazy. Well, no, it wouldn't. I mean, she could have the best photos, like I said before, and the best videos, and all the skeptics out there would just come out of the woodwork and poo poo them, and we wouldn't be any further along than we are right now. So, yeah, that's just a
Yeah,
canard thinking that quote unquote evidence is going to accomplish anything in this, because it's not. It's
it
still going to be
doesn't
laughed at.
accomplish anything. It's not going to accomplish one thing. Um they if they want people to know about them, they'll make themselves very known and very hard to ignore if they want you to see them and to know about them. And they, like you've said, Vic, I don't mean to sound like I am some holy roller or some elitist, but they can see inside people, and they know who they want to contact with. I have been at the gym, at our local gym, and I have had, it's like someone tapping you on the shoulder saying, I like them. I like them. I like them. Tell them, tell them, tell them. That's what it's like when they want to know somebody. I don't know how they do this, but there are friends that I tell about this because they will bug me. The friends and the dogmen will bug me until I tell that person. I always preface it with, I know this is going to sound crazy, but this is what I have going on and they wanted you to know. And every single time it's been someone that has either had an experience or who is open to this, and they'll come to my house and they'll experience them, and they'll come to my house independently now because the Sasquatch and the Dogmen wanted a relationship with them. So they'll come to the house, not even talk to me, and go and be with them. So whoever you are, if they want to know you, they will. Come hell or high water, they will find a way to know you.
Did you hear what Robin just said, everyone? She thinks she's a holy roller. Can you believe the nerve of her? Sorry, I couldn't help myself. No, you're
You're
far from thinking
well,
that.
Vic, you're my friend. You see what I do. You know I'm not a holy roller.
That's right. Very down to earth. No
Yeah.
disputing that. The next question's from Daniel Haynes, and Daniel wants to know if you've had any contact with Robin Haynes McCrae, a very good lady who has these guys
No.
living around all the time and knows as much about Dogman and Sasquatch as I think pretty much anyone I ever spoke with.
Yeah, I don't know that person. No. I have a limited group of people that I talk with who I know have habitation going on, or that are well known in the Bigfoot community that I will talk to, who have my confidence, but I don't know Robin. No.
Can't say I blame you for keeping that circle small, especially in this community, but yeah, Robin
Yeah.
would be a very good one to add to the circle because, yeah, she's just like you. She's top notch. So, If you ever do want advice on these guys, she would definitely be one I'd recommend to contact and ask for help. She would. So, yeah, please keep that in mind if it ever gets to the point where you do want help with this. If something pops up that, even with all of your experience with these guys, you're not sure which way to turn, then yeah, please let me know. And if you'd like me
I
to, like I
will.
said, I'd be more than happy to put you into contact with her.
Yeah, that might be nice just to have someone to talk to about this.
Well, yeah, she'd be a great one for you to talk with because just like the way you have them living around you all the time, yeah, she's been living amongst them for I can't even tell you how long. So, yeah, just say the word and I'll see that through.
I will. Thanks, Vic.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to do it. The next question is from a YouTube user, and that question is: are you comfortable going outdoors after dark these days, or do you stay inside at night?
Oh no, we're outside all the time. Um, I feel very safe going outside. Um, we haven't had I mean, I'm more afraid of the normal things that we have, like mountain lions and bears, and we've got grizzly bears now that are coming in lower to lower elevations. So I feel safer with the friends and with the dogmen than I do with cougars and uh, bears. So I don't have any fear around them. I feel perfectly safe walking around every corner of my property at night um with them, you know. I don't have any fear of them. I don't I honestly I just think that um like we've said before, Vic, if they wanted to hurt me, they've had every opportunity to hurt me. They've had every opportunity to hurt my daughter, to hurt our animals, to hurt our dogs, and they don't.
It's good you realize that. And yeah, with the bears and the cougars out there, they are more likely to harm you than these guys are. That is,
Yeah.
unless you had a rogue or something like that around, but it's clear you don't because you've been there all these years and no problems with them ever trying to harm you. If you had a rogue around or a deviant one, that wouldn't be the case. So I can understand why you
Yeah.
would say that. Looks
Yep.
like the next question is from Stephanie H. And Stephanie wants to know: have the dogmen ever touched you at all?
Yes. And they've touched my daughter. Um I have been touched by both Sasquatch and by the dogmen, and so is my daughter. And being touched by the Sasquatch is different. Um, when they've touched me, it's always been um, for like for healing or for they've just like I felt them on my like touch my head or touch my arm. Um, and it's like getting we call it getting love zapped. It's a very warm it's like if you could imagine a glass full of water being the love that we feel towards our children, which I think is like the highest level of love that we can feel. And unless they're teenagers, then it might be a little bit lower. But it's like having that just overflow. It's like the most loving, it's the most love you can feel and not explode. It's hard to explain. Um, but with the dog friends, when they touch, um, it's like I don't know. It's like if you could imagine a Navy SEAL or someone that is hardened by war that loves you, but they're not going to tell you that they love you, but they do, and they're going to protect you, but they're no nonsense. That's what it feels like. Energetically, but like as far as like tactily what it feels like, um with the Sasquatch, it's been like they they've got like both of them, like for the Sasquatch, it's like almost like a person, like human hands, but rough. So it doesn't feel like getting touched by someone that this sound weird, but it's not like being touched by someone that uses like lotion. It's like a it's just rough hands, but it looks and it feels like if you had the palm of your hand. With the dog friends, it's like a pad. It's not like a palm, like skin or the I'm having a hard time articulating myself, but it's more like a raccoon pad, like pads, like dog, like the feet of dogs, only smoother, more like like raccoons. From what I've seen with raccoons, it's different. Um, I don't know if I explained that very well, but the Sasquatch have more of a human type palm of the hand and skin, and the dog friends have um more like a between a dog and a raccoon type pads, so it doesn't feel like it would if someone had rough skin, if that makes any sense.
That does make good sense. I'll tell you this though, it'd be one thing to have a Sasquatch reach out and touch you, but to have a dogman reach out and touch you, that would be really hard to ever get used to.
It when with my daughter, it doesn't it didn't bother her. It's happened more to her than it has to me, and it doesn't bother her. And when it happened to me, I urinated on myself because it wasn't expected. It was something that startled me, and it was um not a pleasant experience. Even though I know that they don't hurt me, it's not pleasant.
I'm sure it wasn't pleasant. Yeah, that's just too much right there. I can't even
Yeah.
imagine. It looks like Stephanie has another question for you. She wants to know if you see them every day.
No, I don't see them every day. Maybe like twice a week on average, I'll see them. My mom sees them more than I do, and my dad sees them quite frequently. But I mainly because I've started a new company, so I'm working a lot. Um, I'm just not looking. I'm not outside that much anymore because I'm so busy with work and just with life. But my mom and dad, being retired, they see them more than I do.
Yeah, starting a new business, that's a lot of work, so
Uh
I'm
huh.
sure you do have other things on your mind. The next question is from Baby Girl, and her question is, have you seen any other cryptids?
I um I haven't seen anything else here. My daughter has. My daughter saw that thing that looked kind of spidery that was really skinny and white. So she saw that. She's seen other things that look more skeleton-y. So she definitely has seen more than I have. I just see the Sasquatch and the dog friends. Um, my mom has seen something that I really don't know what it is. It's kind of like it she says that she sees it in their window, and it looks just like like she said it looks like a Native American face, only it's very frightening. Um but it's not the friends, it's not Sasquatch. So I don't know what that is, if it's maybe uh like a ghost, or I don't know what she's seeing. But she sees different things. Um but I have not seen anything other than Sasquatch and Dogman. But I don't know what my daughter saw, but she definitely has seen a couple of different things here.
Sasquatch and Dogman are enough. Hope you
It's
never do
enough
see
for
anything
me.
else. Yeah,
It's enough for me.
I heard that. The next question is from Robin Walters, and her question is, hi, Vic and Robin. How many different dogmen do you believe are on your property?
I'm really not sure. I know there are at least 3. I've seen 3 different ones. My daughter describes 2 that are completely different than what I see. And I know that there's one that I don't know what it is. I think that it's something between, it looks like it's between a Sasquatch and a Dogman. It looks kind of baboonish, and it has like these really bright green almond-shaped eyes. So I see that one, but I don't know what that is. It definitely does not look like either one. So I'm not sure what that is, but there are definitely 3 different dogmen that I've seen here.
Like I said before, I just don't know how you could ever get used to that. That is too much. It looks like the next question is from Lori Mass, and her question is, have you ever had one walk through you?
I don't think I've had one walk through me, but I know what I can kind of think about the feeling that she's talking about. I haven't had them walk through me, but I've had them, it sounds weird, but push energy in me. It hasn't gone through me, but they've put energy in me. It sounds weird, but I think that they can project their energy onto people and in people, and that they can heal people and do different things, but I haven't had them walk through me per se.
Yeah, if they did walk through you, I wonder how that works. That would be interesting.
I
Looks
don't
like
know.
yeah, that's a lot. The next question is from Black Sheep, and they want to know, when they cloak, do they look like shadows by any chance? Because I've seen that before.
What I see when they cloak is I see something that looks like the Predator movie, where it's pixelation, where you can see, like if I'm looking at my door, I can still see my door, but it's highly pixelated in the outline of how big they are. So that's what I see. It looks exactly like the movie The Predator. We have seen, like, I guess what you'd call shadows here, where at night it looks like there's big shadows walking by, or we'll see streaks. They're so fast. Both of them are so fast that we'll see like a brown streak or a white streak, and it's them, because they're so fast. It literally looks like a streak going by.
Sure would be nice to know they do that. But then again, they do so many other things too that just defy description or explanation. It's like a laundry list of them. The
Uh-huh.
next question is from Stephanie H. She wants to know, do you ever see their babies?
I think I have, but I'm not entirely sure. I know that that's very vague and strange, but I think that I have.
That must be quite the sight.
Yeah, I think I have, because when I saw, there's a female that we have here that's very attached to my daughter, that we would see all the time, and we've seen her with it looked like something on her, and we think that that was a baby.
Huh, well, that's interesting. It just might have been. I've got another question for you from 1031 Monsters, and their question is, are there water sources with caves nearby?
Yes. There's a water source. We have I guess most people would call it a river right behind my house, and we've got 10 acres of frontage there, and there are caves all over the place here.
Perfect habitat for them. But then you've got
Mm-hmm.
caves and all that water. Yeah, what more
Yep.
can they want? The
Mm-hmm.
next question is from Stephen Weishopt, and Stephen's question is, we kind of touched on this, but there's an angle to this that I guess you didn't. He wants to know, he says, I'm sorry, do they interact with each other?
I'm really not sure. I think they must. I really think they must interact with each other because I don't see how they could cohabitate here and not have interaction. But I haven't physically seen them together. I have seen them separately, but not together. But like I said, at night when I go to bed, I'll hear banging and house slaps, and then at the same time, window tapping. So I know that that's both species. And so the house slaps are occurring maybe like 10 feet from my window, which is being tapped. So there's no way that they could do that without being in proximity of each other.
Yeah, it'd be a good way to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely would. Looks like Sheila R is the next one. She wants to know if you'd ever think of moving.
No, no. In fact, our house is in a family trust. So our house is in a trust, and I'm making sure that when it stays in our family and that it doesn't pass hands ever.
Yeah, that seems to be the most commonly asked question from all the shows you've done. People asking about you moving and everything.
Yeah, no. At first, I thought that I wanted to move, but now there's just no way that I would move. It's too special of a place. Even if I were still afraid, you, well, even when I was still afraid, I recognized the unique situation that we had going on here, and even when I was afraid, I still felt a very strong need to protect the land and to protect them from people.
That's impressive. Very impressive. The next question is from Conchita Bacher, and her question is, are you not afraid all the time?
No, not anymore. I'm never afraid.
Well, that's
The
good.
the only time that I got afraid was when I was touched and I wasn't expecting it, and the dogmen have a completely different energy, and it wasn't so much scared as it was just having that energy and being touched without seeing them. It's not like someone would reach out and touch you. It's like I felt this hand on my shoulder, and I felt the energy and I knew what it was, and I immediately just urinated. That was the only time that I've been afraid lately, and that was just because I was startled. It was that surge of their energy, and I thought for an instant that I was going to die. Um that was the only time I've been afraid lately.
Well, pretty much anyone would pee down their leg if they had one of these guys touch them. So, yeah,
Oh
that doesn't
yeah.
make any different from most people.
Yeah.
Definitely. Stephen Weishaupt wants to know if you've ever heard the Sierra sounds.
I know Ron, and I have heard that, and I don't particularly hear it. I don't hear it that way, but I hear their language. It just doesn't sound the same as Ron's sound, but I have heard it.
Being in this as long as you have, I thought that was almost a given, but still, you never know. It's worth asking.
Yeah.
It is. Sheila R wants to know, you don't feed them, do you? I could have missed this.
No, no, and I do not recommend for anybody to leave any kind of food out, um, ever. It's never a good idea. They will come in and they take what they want. We have a jar of peanut butter specifically for them, and we go through 2 jars of their peanut butter, big jars from Costco, a week. So they have their own thing going on. So I don't consider that feeding because I don't, and again, I don't know how they come in the house, but they do, and they do eat our food. And I know I have other friends that have habituation and they do the same thing with them too, where they just, I don't know how, we can't explain it, as big as they are, but there will be huge like gobs, and you'll see like finger marks in peanut butter. And yeah, so they do, they and they're just going to do it anyway, so I don't consider it feeding them, because they just come in at whenever they want anyway. um but I don't actively like make them sandwiches and bring them food outside. No.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good idea.
Mm-mm.
Bill Unger has next question. He wants to know, do you believe that dogmen could be extraterrestrials?
Yes, I think both of them could be, especially with the orbs that we've been seeing and the UFO here. I think that both of them could be. I think that they definitely are interdimensional. There's just too much there's too much that's weird that goes on here for them not to be extraterrestrial or interdimensional.
You just might be right about that. Pepper and C wants to know, what have they taught you?
They have completely changed how I am as a person. Before all this happened, I was very materialistic. I was very focused on um I was just a very materialistic, very different person. And I move through the world completely differently now. I think that they've taught me that the world is so much bigger and so much more than what we see and perceive, and that what we value as a society isn't important, and that our society is wrong, with what we focus on. And I am much more insulary now, with having very few friends that matter, and I don't worry about the things that I did before, like having material possessions and having a fast track career, things like that. That doesn't matter to me anymore. What matters to me now is figuring out mysteries. I mean, of course, you have to make a living, but they've taught me a lot. A lot of it I just am going to keep to myself. But I just want people to know that what we see isn't what matters. There's a lot more that matters and that's important.
That's right, there's no doubt about that. Bill Unger wants to know if you ever have seen a female dog woman.
I haven't, but my daughter has. Um my daughter has seen one, and um she uh, this one female is very there's a female Sasquatch and a female dog person that's very that they both of them are very attached to my daughter, and she would see them outside her window all the time. um and she just said that it's smaller than the big one, and she would describe it. And they look different, and they have a different energy than the males. Their energy is a lot more it's easier to be around them than it is the males. The males are, I know they won't hurt me, but their energy is a lot. It's a lot to be around. And the females have a softer, they're a little softer, but I haven't, my daughter has.
That she has. I think you talked about that in, I think, episode 139.
Yeah.
I think you did.
Hmm.
Robin Walters wants to know, hi, Robin, are there different types of dogmen on your property?
I think so. Because I told you that I've seen one that looks like a wolf, and it's scary, but I think it's very majestic. It's pretty, and it looks more like a wolf. There's one that is just scary, that just scares me. It looks like God, it looks like a like a stereotypical just freaky werewolf, where it's got like not like fuzzy like a wolf, but it's got like sparse hair, and it's more scary. And it looks like it's got way too many teeth in its mouth, and that thing is huge. That's the one that really scares me. Um just because of how it looks. I know it won't hurt me. And then there's the one thing that I see that it looks like a cross between a dogman and a Sasquatch, and it's got like Sasquatch legs. I didn't see a tail on it, and it's got like green, really, really bright, like neony green, almond shaped eyes. So I think that there's three types that I see.
Yeah, that's a type 3 right there.
Yeah, it's
Text.
freaky. That one, out of everything that I've seen here, that one I know for a fact would kill me in a minute. It has malice, and I don't know why it's here, and I do not like that one. I've seen it. Oh, it makes me feel really scared and really ill to be around it. And so another thing that people get curious about is how they smell. That thing smells. That smells awful. It smells like sulfur and urine and feces. It is disgusting. But the other ones that I smell, like the Sasquatch, smell like earth and like jasmine. They smell really good. And the dogmen, when I've been around them, they don't really smell. They have kind of like just an earthy smell, but it's nothing pungent. This thing smells like, if evil had a smell, it would be like ode to evil. It just is gross. And yeah, that one I do not like.
That description definitely doesn't paint a very pleasant picture, but yeah, from the way you describe it, that's textbook type 3 right there.
Yeah.
It is. UFO Drone Guy wants to know if you've had a face to face with any of these dogmen.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I have the the type 3, I've had two face-to-face encounters with that, where I've seen it in we've got a tree line, and I've seen it in the tree line. It had to have been down on its belly, crouched, but its eyes are so luminescent that I could see it in the tree line. Um, I count that as a face to face. I was down on our property. There was an island that was on our property, and I was down around there, and it was like lingering, and that's where the Sasquatch stay. And this wasn't on the island, but it was off in kind of like a crevice, not a cave, but it was like a crevice beneath a boulder. I saw it in there, and that's when I saw its face and its legs, and that was enough for me. And I have had face to face with the other dogmen, the one that looks scary to me, that looks like a werewolf, and that has kind of sparse hair, and just it has all these teeth. I've only seen that through my window. But the other ones that look like a wolf, that I think they're pretty. I've seen those out in the wild, like out on my property, face to face. And the Sasquatch I've seen face to face, God, like a lot. I see them face to face a lot more.
Seeing one of the prettier ones wouldn't be too bad for you, but it goes without saying, I sure hope you never see that frightening looking one again. Hopefully it'll never poke its head out and let you see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope. 1031 Monsters wants to know, do either of them have blue eye shine, talking about Sasquatch or dogmen around your property?
Not that I've seen. No. Mm-mm.
Looks like Joshua Longy wants to know, can you give us a name they would use?
Their name, like
That's
how
right.
I don't want to give that out publicly.
That's all right.
That's
I don't
that's
blame you.
that's too private. That's too personal.
I don't blame you for not wanting to defy that trust. So, no problem. I'm looking for one more question to ask you. Looks like 1031 Monsters wants to know, Robin, do either of them have blue eye shine with big eyes? Now, I guess we've already answered that. I'm looking for one more good question to ask you before we call it. That's already been answered. That's already been taken care of. So, no, I think we're good on the questions. Before we do get out of here, Robin, would you like to give us any closing comments by chance?
Sure. I know that that a lot of your listeners, either they're curious about this, maybe they've had an encounter, maybe they haven't, and maybe they're seeking it out. The best advice that I can give is that just go out and be out in the woods. And if they want to interact with you and have them known to you, they will. Don't try to take pictures. Don't go out with the thought that you want to take pictures of their tracks or anything like that, because that's a violation, and that's going out with the wrong intent. But if you have an open mind and an open heart and just have good intentions, that's the best way to have an experience. But I would also caution that once you do, it really is, even if you're seeking it and even if you believe, it is very different to have it happen to you. And the only reason why I am able to sound coherent and why I'm not on a lot of medication is because I have a really good family support, and they've had encounters too. That's the only reason. It is very hard. It's very difficult to live this way. I don't have friends come over very often because I never know what they're going to see. My daughter couldn't have friends over for a long time because they would show themselves to her friends. Um, it's a very isolating thing to have it happen. But like I said, my parents moved here. I'm very lucky. They left their lives in a city and came here to live with me to help me deal with this, because it is very, very difficult to deal with.
I'm sure that's probably the understatement of the year. Like I've told you
Yeah.
before, I don't know
Yeah.
how you do it. I really don't. But having said that, I can't thank you enough for coming back on, Robin, and updating us, and of course, answering all these questions from the listeners in the live chat. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Vic. Thank you for having me, and I'm happy to come on anytime.
Well, you're welcome. You really are. For any of the listeners out there, if you've had an encounter with a dog man that you'd like to speak about with me in private, there's no requirement ever to come on the show. Or if you would like to come on the show and share your experience, that too is totally fine. Please go to dogmanencounters.com and submit a report. If you do that and fully complete the report, then I'll be more than happy to contact you so we can have a good conversation about your experience, or experiences for that matter. But having said that, thanks again so much for listening, everyone. I really appreciate it. And Robin, hope you have a great night.
You too, Vic. Thanks.
Thanks. We'll see ya.